All right, welcome back. So this short video is going to be on the presidential account and the suggested way to handle managing those invoices and processing them on your ledger. So if we go to our invoice, well, let me back up here. If we go to settings and go to companies, this is how we're going to separate our ledger by having two different companies. So one company is for Pioneer College Caterers. That will be for all invoices that we generate on a regular basis, and then we'll create another company and call it presidential account. You can word that any way you want to, but that's just a way to separate these two ledgers. If you edit on this, you can key in your text and key in all that information there. Okay, so we're going to do that in a way to separate all invoicing, provide us a reporting tool for that. So if we go to our invoices, we list all invoices. We don't have the company listed up here by default because for most of us that's not necessary. But you can click on columns and you can select billing company. It'll show up here, and now you can see where presidential account is and Pioneer College Caterers is listed. So if we wanted to look at just invoices on the presidential account, or let's just say Pioneer first. If I type in Pioneer, it's going to list all of those, and it'll extract out the presidential account. So these totals at the bottom don't include the presidential account, which is what you're going to want. But if you want to look at the presidential account, you just type in presidential account and it'll pull that up. The way I suggest handling the balance on that is you create an initial invoice. We'll just edit that one. All right, initial invoice. Put a 0 for the quantity and just indicate that it's the initial balance for the 2022-23 school year. Okay, just by keying that text in, and make sure you choose the presidential account as the company. Okay, and then when we do that, go back down here and search for print. Then we're going to want to mark it paid. So if you look at what I did for payments, I marked it paid and I put $10,000 in that amount. So it shows then that they have already paid $10,000 into this account. And so if you're looking at it on the ledger here, it's going to show set initial balance, $10,000 paid. And then our balance for the account is going to have this negative. So when we create a new invoice, presidential dinner, for example, when we edit that invoice and we put that amount in, $500, right, it's going to put it into this as $500 bill to the presidential account right there. So let me search that again. And so in this one, they haven't paid any money on it because it has this balance. So your running balance now is $9,500 for that presidential account. Because this will still show up as pending in the other on the main ledger, and you may not want that to show there, this would be an instance where it would make sense to edit that invoice and just set the status to paid, force it to paid. That way it'll show up as a paid invoice, and you won't have these pending invoices that don't really mean they're pending. So it'll mark them paid and it'll show up as a paid invoice, paid on that balance. But in this case, you wouldn't choose to add a payment to it because the payment is actually already paid by this opening balance. So that's how you separate that. And then under reports, if you're doing these daily sales reports, you might want to choose presidential account, so it'll show you all of the invoices for that report, July 27 report for the presidential account, or choose Pioneer and it'll list all of the invoices for those report dates excluding the presidential account. So those numbers don't have the presidential billing tied into it. So that's how you can separate that. Same thing with monthly sales, same thing. You can look at your presidential account or the account and exclude those, or just list all of them together. So great. I think that's it for the presidential account. Thanks for watching.